Hello chopper fans! In today's video I want to talk about rat builds and custom bikes. I was very impressed at the last Emberton bike meet. If you haven't seen the video on Iconic Brands, please do. I'll put the link up later. What amazed me was the popularity of rat and custom bikes that were there, particularly Mark III's and quite a lot of RSW 16 bikes as well. I was very impressed with a young member's bike, Matt, who is an Arsenal football fan, and he'd done his bike in the Arsenal colours. I was very impressed with that, being such a young lad, which shows that it's not just about older people enjoying these bikes, and it's nice to see a younger generation coming through. The variety of bikes was absolutely astonishing, and it opened my eyes up. Should I do some myself? Now I choose the RSW 16 as my base bike. Like I say, at Emberton most of them were Raleigh Mark III's, basically because they're a lot cheaper to obtain. Now the RSW 16 frame is very versatile, and one that you can just let your imagination run wild. Here's two bikes that I've done amongst others. This one here for my daughter Kimberly, which I'll show you in a bit, and this one here I've done for myself. Something I've been meaning to do for quite a while. I think Emberton actually inspired me to get on and do these bikes. The thing is, you don't have to strip the entire frame down like I have with these. You can just buy the bike and just paint it as it is. It doesn't have to be the way I've done it. It can be made a lot easier, and a lot of the retro bikes there are converted are very similar to custom cars and furniture renovation. The purists will probably hate me for saying this, but just remember that some of these bikes would have been scrap, the parts would have been just used on other bikes, and don't forget, one day somebody might convert these back to the original spec. So there's always that saving grace, if you like. Some people just don't like the idea that you are customizing these vintage bikes, but to be honest with you, there's so many of them just rotting in sheds and people not using them. They're very heavy bike, and this doesn't make them as popular as the new modern ones. Indeed, you can go out and buy a modern frame bike and customize that. It doesn't have to be any of these. But what I find with these bikes in particular, they're excellent quality. I mean, the frames are just fantastic, robust and enduring. I mean, some of these are 50-60 years old now, and they still retain a lot of the straightness for your rat build or custom bikes. To give you inspiration, please look up UK Diamondz. I'll give you the link for that as well, which is James Bikes. He's also runs Crank Jesters, which I find fantastic on YouTube. It gave me a few ideas, far more weird and wonderful than what I've got here. I'll give you the link for that. And also on Facebook, don't forget my own Facebook page, Iconic Brands, please follow that. But also look up Mr. Black Silo, who runs the custom and rat build bikes for Raleigh Choppers, which is also very interesting. I contribute to that myself. I'll show you how in time-lapse version how I've built this bike. Like I say, you don't have to do what I've done. You can customize it to however you feel, which is part of the fun of owning these bikes, you know. It is also, from a security point of view, you're less likely to have a customized bike stolen, because it's too individual to you for anybody really to want it. just remember that fact. So here's a time-lapse video of myself building this particular bike. Here's a technical tip. There is no hole in the frame for the cable, so just remember you have to drill a hole through the frame to use a Mark III RSW frame for brakes such as that. The 16-inch wheels on these bikes are taken from other bikes that you can find practically anywhere these days in the classifieds. And I always build them single speed because I'll guarantee you anybody riding the original version of these bikes are practically always in first anyway. It's an interesting mix of new technology with aluminium wheels and vintage bikes as well. Really what you do with bikes like this are down to you. The choices of colours and what you do with it are infinite, and you can have a lot of fun doing it. Please watch my other video that I did at Emberton, as this will give you some idea of what other people have done. It certainly helped me. This video can be found on Iconic Brands. The name Reaper, I've called it, is an anagram of my own name. It's my initials forward and backwards. See, that's all part of the fun. You can make your own names up, you can put your own transfers on, you can paint whatever colour, weird and wonderful colour you want. And there's a growing interest in doing this. It's a lot of fun, and please subscribe and like the channel as well. Not just mine, the other lads as well who run these groups. Thanks for watching Iconic Brands. Here's some other Iconic Brands videos you may well be interested in.